for the Scentsy men in the room. And I can see some of you out there. See, a Scentsy man is, I always use the analogy that a Scentsy man's like a Sasquatch, okay? This is why they're like a Sasquatch. Well, not in that way.
That's Martin, isn't it?
A Scentsy man is like a Sasquatch because they don't like to be detected. They lay low, you know. A lot of people don't even believe that they actually exist, but there is spottings of them, and I am one of them, okay? So let me give you a little bit about us. Now, my wife Megan, many of you know, she's the better-looking half of our business. She's in Calgary right now. We're based out of Calgary. We're superstar directors. We've been with Scentsy since it came to Canada. I want to tell you a little bit about us by sharing a little story with you, okay? This was in the, I think it was summer 2010. It was the first incentive trip that Canadians were invited to. Now, based on my wife's sales alone, we were invited to that incentive trip. And we went there, and you know, we had a chance to meet everyone, and Orville and Heidi and all the executives and other superstar directors. And we were kind of amazed. You can call it an aha or whatever you want to call it. But after we stayed a couple extra days. It was a big island of Hawaii. We stayed a couple extra days, and we were sitting on a beach together. And we made a decision. See, at the time, I had a really good job. I'm an attorney trained. I have a law degree. I was working as a lawyer, and I was making very good money. But I absolutely hated my job. I utterly, utterly hated it. But I was stuck in that situation where a lot of men, frankly, find themselves stuck in. Where they're providing for their family, they love their family, but if they could have it another way, they would, but they can't move away from it because they need that income. And so we made a decision that we were going to swing for the fence. We believed in the product, we believed in the company, and we knew that we could make something happen. We made a goal, we sat down, we had a piece of paper, we wrote it down, and we said, we are going to duplicate the income in this business that we make in our law, in my law business, and I'm going to quit law. We're going to build a business. We're going to build it for real. And I'm happy to say in 2012 that happened. I was able to leave my law career. We now have a group, an organization, Team with us Forum, TWW, many of you are here from it, that is just under 1,800 people. We have a very legitimate business. It's something that we're very proud of. So Scentsy men in the room, don't just be here because your wife asked you. Don't just be here and say, oh, that little hobby that she does, right? That little thing that no one ever actually makes any money. I remember being like that. I remember thinking, no one actually makes any money. You can make a lot of money in this. Get behind it. Do some work. Get behind her. It's a real business. Now, I want to add some value to you. Just a real quick story before I do. When I finally left my law practice, I remember going to a lot of my colleagues. And it was pretty, I found it kind of funny. I would go to my law colleagues and I'd say, yeah, I'm leaving law because my wife and I have this unbelievable business and it's growing super fast and we love it so much and they were super excited about it. And then their eyes would light up thinking, and I think in the back of their mind they were thinking, oh, it's probably investment or commercial real estate or maybe some kind of cool technology that I'm getting involved in. And I'd say, no, it's this little warmer. You take these little cubes of wax and it melts down and it makes your room smell. And the funny part wasn't just that, it was the way that people responded to me. Because I got the exact same response every time. Two components. The pause and then the eyebrow lift. Oh. I got so funny that my wife and I would try to engage that response from people. Okay. I want to add some value to you today. I want you to be able to take home something that will cause a direct impact in your business. It doesn't matter what your goal is. If your goal is to make an income commensurate with a professional doctor or lawyer, take this down. If your goal is to make $1,000 a month, take this down. Okay? One word. You don't need to write. You don't even need to write the rest of the slides. It's one word, well, two words, one phrase. Add value. Find ways to add value in everything that you do, and that's what I'm going to talk about. Add value to every interaction, contextualize your approach, and then let's build some systems so it's sustainable. Okay, so all growth is good. We want our businesses to grow. All growth is good. But the reality is there's certain types of growth that is more ideal. Certain types of growth is better. So what would an ideal business look like? Now, before I get into this, I want to say, look, I understand that this is an ideal setting. Not everyone's business, including ours, looks like this all the time. But this is the model that we're shooting for. I want a repeat customer base. I want customers that are continuing to buy because they like the product and they like us. I want customers who are fans, because those customers lead to organic growth. They're going to refer their friends. And it's those customers who will become consultants because they love the product. And it's those, and your team's going to naturally grow. When there's a passion for the product, they're going to be the ones sharing it. Because, you know why? It's not about sales. We have people on our team all the time say, I can't sell. Well, I say, well, then stop selling. Like, do you like the product? Yeah. Well, then tell them about the product. Do you like being part of the business? Yeah. Why? Tell them about that. When you have that kind of passion, it creates a community. People don't want to leave. Okay? It's the best form of growth. Now, what's the other type? The other type is the kind that all of us have had to deal with, and we deal with it all the time. It's the grind and the hustle. It's the cold calling. It's the constantly having to reinvent, get new contacts. It's high attrition, because consultants get in and they quit. Okay? So it's 3 steps ahead, 2 steps back. All of us struggle with this. But ideally, we want to get the ideal kind. Okay, so conclusion, all growth is good, but ideal growth is better. Our observation, this is what we found in 3.5 years running our business, is that if we add value in every action, interaction, activity, and engagement, we are more likely to trigger ideal growth. Where does this whole law of value come from? We attribute it to Bob Burg. One of, I would say, if you don't have his book, The Go-Giver, he actually came and spoke at Leadership. I would say it's in the top 5 most influential books for our business. He talks about the law of value. Your true worth is determined by how much more you give in value than you take in payment, and the law of compensation. Your income is determined by how many people you serve and how well you serve them. So how does that apply to Scentsy? Your income, just being blunt, is determined by how many people you serve. There's 2 forms of this in serving people. It's the size of your customer base and the size of your team and group, and how well you serve them. So how much value can you add to them? Adding to your customers and adding to your downline. So how is adding value related to providing great customer service? Well, there's really only 2 ways to distinguish yourself in business. Prior to our Scentsy business, I had been involved in a lot of different startups. Okay, I've been pretty much self-employed ever since I got out of school. And when you're getting into business and you don't have a way to distinguish yourself in terms of a product or service that's unique, what is the first thing you do? This is the law practice. We cut prices. I need customers right away. Okay? I got to get revenue. So what can I do? I can either cut prices, okay, and we see this in our industry with big box retailers, okay, or we can add value. Now think about this. I want you to just think about this in your own mind for a second. I absolutely guarantee that every single one of you, I guarantee it, buys something that isn't the cheapest product in the market. Even if you're in a tight budget, I absolutely guarantee it. It might be a type of food. It could be shoes. It could be a car. It could be a certain hotel that you use or a computer that you use. I guarantee it. So ask yourself, why? Well, the reality is you've derived a value from that product. And you've derived a value, and it's important enough to you that you will part with some of your hard-earned money, even though you could get a comparable product for less money, but you're willing to part for it. A customer will pay a higher price if they value the product or service. And a customer is more loyal to the brand if the brand has provided them value in the past. And this last one, this is the most important one for our business. A customer is more likely to refer others to your business if they find value in your product or your service. Think again about your consumer buying experience. How many times, I know I have, we have a natural tendency to share things that are meaningful to us. Things that we find valuable, we will share with the people who we trust. And we care about, because they trust us, they're more likely to go out and purchase it. So we can't get into the price fixing game. We have to deal with adding value. Okay, so let's get into the nuts and bolts now. So how do I add value in a Scentsy business? Now the first one, I'm going to combine these first 2 together. Fantastic attitude and going the extra mile. John Wooden, the great basketball coach, used to talk about, he used to try to teach this principle to his players, that you may only get, I'm going to pull you off the bench. He called it competitive greatness. I'm going to pull you off the bench. You may have 2 minutes this season, that's it. To show me what you can do. You have to be at your best when your best is required. Now, we try to apply this in our Scentsy business, and this is how I interpret it. Every single person, at the moment of that interaction with you, whether it be a customer or a team member, is the most important person in the world to you in terms of the growth of your business. And that person, if you have the attitude that this person is going to kind of shape what they feel about Scentsy. Now the reality is you can't win them all. We've had lots and lots of customers who we do our best, we go the extra mile, and they're just rude or they're demanding. Like, it just happens. Anyone who's involved in a retail context, you know that exists. But when you take the attitude that I don't care what they do, this is how I'm going to be. I'm going to give my very best to every single interaction. That's how we add value. And contextualize your approach. And I'm going to get into some specific ideas about contextualization. Okay. And I mentioned this already. It's the same approach to value whether you're dealing with your customers or your downline. So we've got to be adding value in everything you do. Okay. One thing that's really important when we're designing a value-based business is creating value systems. What I mean by systems, and this has been talked about in the other presentations today, things that you can duplicate, things that turn into habits, things that when this happens, okay? Now I want to just caveat this idea with a couple points. It's really important that you do what comes natural to you. And it's really important that you use your own unique touch. And I'll give a perfect example that comes up not infrequently in Scentsy. It's the ultra crafty touch from the consultant, okay? I see things that I think is fantastic, but I can't do that, and Megan's not into that. We don't do super, super crafty things. Now, I'm not disparaging people who do. I think it's wonderful. But I have to be unique, and Megan and I, we have to be unique to what is us. And so we're not crafty people. So we find other ways to add value. If you are a crafty person, and you're going to do little things for your customers, own it, rock it, continue it, because that's part of you, and it's meaningful to you. But if you're not, you can become a superstar director without being crafty. You just have to add value. So you look at other ways to add value. Again, with value systems, I mentioned this, we're looking for ease and duplication. We want to be sustainable in light of growth, okay? So you can do a lot of things for one person, but what about when your customer base becomes 1,000? You got to be thinking about that. Build it into habits. If it's too difficult or arduous, you won't do it. Okay, so I'm going to take the remainder of my presentation and talk about some of our value systems. This first one is actually one from Bob Berg that we built in. Now some of them, it may seem kind of arduous. And I would say that there comes a time to do arduous things. You just have to decide which ones you want to do. There is always a time to go the extra mile, okay, and do things that are unique. You just have to decide which ones they are. We've gotten in the habit of using handwritten notes. I should have taken the word of online out of there because it's all of our customers. This is from Bob Berg. We live in the world of instant gratification and Facebook and instant messaging and Twitter, and everything happens immediately and by the phone. But there's a flip side of this, is that some of us lose the art of human communication, okay? But there's an opportunity in this too, because hardly anybody does it. When someone receives something handwritten, that's powerful. It causes a memorable impression. Those are some things that we do. We will often track customers' favorite scents, use technology to trigger memories, meaning like, just little, like it doesn't need to be complicated technology. It could be as simple as a Microsoft Word document or an Excel spreadsheet that says this customer likes this. So that when you have a repeat situation, you're engaging with them based on their experience. And so they're interpreting it from you that, hey, you're more than just a sale. I'm more than just a commission to you. You're actually thinking about my experience, okay? And the other thing that I don't have up here, which is equally as important, is caring about people. I know this sounds Pollyannish, but there's an amazing power of having a perspective that every single customer that comes into our life, every single person that comes into our downline is a new friendship. And we are expanding our circle of friends. Okay? And so the simple things like finding out about that person, finding about, and not everyone will let you in, right? But a lot of people will. Finding out what they like, finding out what they do, finding out what their family's like. Making note of it, remembering it, so that when you talk to them, when you do follow up, you say, hey, how's your son's hockey going? I know that he plays. Like little things like that allow you to stand out and allow you to be more than just a Google search. We don't just want to be a Google search, okay? That's not the way to grow your business, is just to be a Google search. We want to be a name and a face and adding value, okay? And the last one, this is, I attribute to Megan. I can put her on a pedestal because she's not here. I'd still if she was. But some of the generosity is almost insane, and it used to drive me crazy when she would do it, because she would drive, and she still does this, even though we're superstar directors. She literally, last week, we live in far, far southeast Calgary. She drove an hour one way to northwest Calgary to deliver one bar. Okay? That's just, and I say that that's the kind of stuff that she does. And it used to frustrate me because I would say, just use FedEx or something. Like this is a waste of time. But it's not a waste of time. Because to her, it's that idea of this person is the most important person in my business. Now, this is where she made me a believer. Because there's been people that those extra mile interactions that Megan has done in our business have turned into consultants, and they've turned into good consultants, and they've turned into directors, and they've turned into leaders because of that extra mile. Okay, and there's other factors that go into that. But I'm totally convinced at this point that sometimes those small little acts of going the extra mile make a dramatic difference to someone's experience. And it's that thing that gets you a customer for life. And it's that triggers that ideal growth to the point where you talk about, well, I want to hit my 500 PRV sales targets. Well, wouldn't that be great if it just happened? Well, it can. It can just happen. What I mean by just happening is you have so many repeat customers that they just go, that they just come to you. That can happen. But it won't happen if you don't find a way to add value to them. Thank you very much. Woohoo! Woohoo!